Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm actually going to be doing a tutorial that's kind of piggybacking off of my grunge video. I will link up here if you guys haven't seen it yet. But anyway, yeah, this however is not going to be like the more Courtney Love style grunge. This is going to be the Dolores O'Riordan style. If you don't know who Dolores O'Riordan is, she was actually the lead singer of the Cranberries. She passed away a couple weeks ago. And I remember so the day before she passed away, I actually went to IMATS and I went by myself. So I just kind of listened to I just had listened to music the whole time, listened to Spotify. And for whatever reason, on one of my playlists, I have a lot of Cranberry songs, and it was just just kind of listen to the Cranberries the majority of IMATS. And then it was weird. The next day I found out that she had died, and yeah, she will be missed. Greatly, greatly missed. So I know most of the people that follow me are probably completely familiar with who she is, because I think most of you guys are around my age. And even of course some of the younger people, listen to the Cranberries or whatnot. But this look obviously was heavily inspired by Dolores O'Riordan. She wore so many different types of makeup. She sometimes would wear glitter, she would wear brown, she would wear black eyeshadow, she would wear nude lips. Nude lips were generally her thing. Every once in a while you'd see her in a red lip or a coral lip or even a cool tone bright pink, but for the most part you'll always see her in nude lipstick and smoky eye, and that is what inspired this look today. More specifically these photos that I'm going to insert right here, because though like I said I'm not necessarily recreating it, I am taking the elements of her look, the high placement of the blush, the grungy smoky eye that's kind of downturned. Anyway, yeah, they were classic, and she is a legend, and that's what inspired this makeup look. And this is actually a really easy look to accomplish. It's almost really simple when you look at it, but at the same time it's I love it so much because it's still a look. It's a look in its own right. It's definitely a cohesive style. No matter how simple it appears, it is a style, and that's what I love so much about this makeup look. And yeah, I think I've said enough at this point, and I'll go ahead and get started. Sorry if you can hear people banging around upstairs. They're working on the washer and dryer. But I prefer talk-throughs. And if people get bothered by all the noise that goes on outside my apartment, then you can let me know and I can go back to doing some voiceovers from time to time instead. But yeah, it's just I prefer talk-throughs. So I am going to start with a little bit of a transition shade, but I'm going to use a very light taupe shade. Keep it kind of in my crease here. So Dolores O'Riordan, she had hooded eyes. I do not have hooded eyes, so I'm just going to kind of adapt this to my style. So when I bring this down, I'm not bringing the transition up or really any part of the eye look up. I am just going to keep it facing down. I'm going to kind of go in line with the angle of my eyelid here, just to get the same effect, or a similar effect, if that makes sense. You can already see how this one looks like it's kind of drooping, just as opposed to this one that doesn't have any transition on it. I'm going to take this brown shade in the palette and just put that all over my eyelid. Another thing this primer does is it does this weird patchy thing over here on the outer part of my eye, if you can see that. I have not noticed anything else. When I prime my eyelids with concealer, I do not notice that. I think it's my eyelid, it just dries my eyelids out. So I'm going to deepen this up quite a bit here. Again, just kind of letting the shadow falls where it falls. I'm not dragging it up, I'm not shaping my eye, I'm just covering my eyelid. Now I'm actually going to take a black Kohl. This is the L'Oreal Voluminous Smoldering Eyeliner. I've had this for a really long time. I'm just trying to use it up really at this point. I will not repurchase because I no longer purchase from L'Oreal, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to smudge this on my lash line. And I'm going to go into the black in the palette and use this little smudge brush to smudge that eyeliner out. I just want to keep making sure I'm bringing that shape down as opposed to my instinct that kind of, to wing it out a little bit. No, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is just, I mean, I'm like fighting the urge to make it look perfect right now. Go back in with that brown and this little Morphe blending brush and just blend that into the rest of the brown here. And I want the outer corner to definitely follow the downward slope here. So I'm not gonna be too shy about putting shadow right there in the outer corner. Now I'm gonna do my foundation. Again, I'm not going to do a ton of coverage, kind of like I did in my 90s grunge video. I'm not gonna put like a ton of coverage on because, like I said, that wasn't really the trend on the grunge scene. Mixing this BH Cosmetics with the Bourjois foundation, like this is my favorite foundation combination of all time. I wish that they would just team up and make this foundation. Now I'm just gonna further sheer that out by going over it with a beauty blender. Finally switched beauty blenders. I decided my other one was like, it was like the foam was deteriorating, so it was like really dry, like holding water weird. It was just weird. It was time to switch. I'm gonna use a little bit of concealer. I'm gonna use my like lighter coverage concealer that I have right now. Just a tiny bit though, not too crazy with it. Like a tiny bit right here. I'm gonna use a little bit of powder. I'm gonna use this Kat Von D powder. I definitely want to mattify my face as opposed to, I'm not gonna add any like sheen to it. For the lower lash line, again, I'm gonna start with that dark brown shade. I'm not gonna really bother with the transition too much, aside from helping blend this shade out. I'm just gonna go straight in with that brown shade onto my lower lash line. I just have to make sure not, like I wanna concentrate it kind of on the outer part of my lower lash line. And I do not wanna bring it up. I'm gonna resist the urge and jab a brush in my eyeball. Here we go. Make sure I'm still following that downward shape here. I'm gonna take my finger and smudge out that line a bit so it doesn't look perfectly blended. I want the shadow to almost look kind of patchy. As weird as that sounds. I'm just gonna take my finger and smudge it around down here. I'm gonna take that black Kohl liner and line my waterline and like the inner tear duct area here. You can see I've kind of got that downward shape I'm going for here. For brows, Dolores had very thin brows. She pretty much followed the 90s trend with the thin brows. I, of course, am not going to pluck my brows to oblivion, nor do I want to glue them up or anything, because I want this to look like a natural makeup look, not costumey. But what I am going to do is kind of what I did in my grunge tutorial, and I'm going to fill them in only on the inside to just give them a thinner appearance. Definitely not dragging it out to the edges. I just want to give them a thinner appearance. So you can kind of see this one. How it already kind of has a thinner appearance than this one because I'm just drawing the attention to the center of my brows here. Very, very quick, easy way to do your brows too. And her brows also had a very definite arch like that. I have pretty straight brows, but you know, I'm not gonna fuss about that. I'm just gonna set my brows with the Anastasia clear brow gel. Not gonna brush them up though. I'm just gonna keep them all kind of in line with one another here. Another effort to thin them out a bit. And it's okay that there's such like a stark line there where my waterline is, because that is exactly what her makeup would have looked like. So yeah. Now in terms of blush, she, you know, kind of went through a bunch of different like blushes. She didn't always wear the exact same kind, but what I did notice in at least her like 90s looks is she would wear it pretty high up on her cheeks, whether it was like a bright pink blush or like a coral blush or even like a cool toned pink blush. She generally wore it right around here in this area, and that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna take like a coral blush and put that right up here, right kind of beneath my eye a little bit. I'm just swirling my brush around in a circle here. For lips though, she always wore a nude lip. Like, it didn't matter what her eyes looked like, whether she put glitter or black or brown or whatever on her eyes. It was like pretty much all the time. I've seen maybe a few pictures of her where she wore that like 90s red, but for the most part she stuck with a nude lip. So I'm actually going to use this NudeStix lipstick in the shade Whisper. It's pretty similar to my skin tone. It's a little bit lighter than my normal lips, but I think it's pretty perfect for the look. I'm just going to smear it around as opposed to, you know, caking it on pretty heavily. I'm going to put some mascara on. I'm not going to curl my eyelashes though, because though she may have, but like I said, she had hooded eyes, her eyelashes tended to kind of face downward a little bit. So she may have curled her eyelashes a little bit, but I'm not going to do it to my eyes, because if I curl my eyelashes, it's immediately going to make my eyes look like it's going to make them lift, and I do not want to lift them. I just want to kind of blacken my eyelashes a bit. I still want to keep this effect. So I'm not going to like try and curl my lashes. I'm just going to darken them where they are. And then what I'm going to do to kind of clean off my lower lashes a bit, because I don't want them appearing like so long here, I'm just going to pinch the ends of them and get the mascara right off the ends here. See? Pretty. It's like I'm literally pulling off the end of my eyelash, but no, just pinching the ends here, getting the little bits of mascara off the end there. All right, so I actually changed my mind now that I have the mascara on and everything. I changed my mind a little bit on the eyes and what I want to do with them. Instead of just leaving them matte, I'm going to put like a shimmery shade on top of my lid. I'm just going to put a brown shimmer. I'm actually going to use this little single from the CYO makeup line. This one is called Everything Illuminated. It's one of their shimmer eyeshadows, and it has a little, like, it has tiny little flecks of glitter in it, which is what I want, because I want it to give that, I want to have that like kind of glossy look like Dolores did in some of her looks. So yeah, you can see it's like a really cool toned brownish taupe shade. It's just going to give a tiny little bit of shimmer here. This is going to be like dead on what I'm wanting now. Just going to blend that out a little bit here. Still keeping that shape though. Don't want to go over hit my lashes too much either, because it'll just make them flake everywhere. And it's okay if this looks like it's kind of overhanging the lower lash line, because it wasn't too uncommon for her looks. It's like just enough of a shimmer that it almost doesn't look like a shimmery shadow. Like it almost looks just like a satin shadow, or how your eyelids might look, but it's like still messy and grungy. Actually gonna intensify my blush a little bit as well. I'm just shearing it out. I'm gonna add a little bit of pink as well. So it has like a pinky coral look, and I'm gonna add this bright pink. That would be like the exact color I'm going for right there. Still keeping it in the area that I noticed she kind of wore her blush. I'm not sure if I touched on this or not, but she didn't really wear a lot of bronzer regularly. It was mainly just the blush. Like I said in my 90s video, which I will link up here if you guys want to go watch it, bronzer just wasn't really a thing in your average makeup routine. Even like contour wasn't really a thing. Like it was something that like the pros did for sure. Like I remember in Kevin Aucoin, like in his books, like his like famous makeup books, he mentions like contouring and highlighting, but he uses eyeshadows to do it, which is interesting. Like he will use like a shimmery eyeshadow on the top of her cheekbone, or he'll use like a gray eyeshadow under her cheekbone, or he'll mention just like variations of powder that he would use on his like clients. All right guys, thank you so much for watching. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber and you want to be, just hit the subscribe button on your way out, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.